Hello, my name is Eric Frauschneider, and I would like to give a report about how I was set up to be murdered, tortured, had acts of terrorism performed on me that destroyed my housing, while the entire city of Portland was in danger from a wanted criminal parole violating fugitive named Stephen Lowell Stanley that was living inside the Housing Authority of Portland. Wanted by the police the whole time he lived there. Now recently, about a month ago or so ago, the Oregon governor has resigned, facing corruption charges. Now facing corruption charges, he can be endangering the lives of other people. That's not been reported. In fact, this story has been massively covered up by everyone, all the newspapers that I went to, except Occupy Portland's website, which I gave that report on February 25th of 2014. And what I'd like to say about that is that they are not journalists. They did a great job in reporting it when nobody else would, but there were certain discrepancies, and I'd like to clear that up. Now, to find that article, you will need my last name, so I will spell it for you. It's F as in Frank, R-O-S-H. N as in November, I, D as in David, E-R. February 25th, Occupy Portland's website. Now, Stephen Lowell Stanley was a wanted criminal parole violating fugitive with a history of illegal weapons possession and kidnapping. It says in the home forward policy for admittance, if the behavior constitutes a felony involving serious injury, kidnapping, death, arson, rape, sex crimes, and or child sex crimes, and then it goes down to the end where it says the application will be denied regardless of how long the behavior occurred, and he was a kidnapper. He served time for that in Ohio. Now, before his arrest, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 8 cases in which he's came before the police on his police record, which is number 2506543, and his fugitive arrest is case number is 1264744, and the arrest occurred at 8832 North Syracuse Street, Portland, where he was living, wanted by the police the whole time that he lived there. He was given a eviction notice on May 15th, 2012. This means they were evicting him instead of placing him in jail where he belonged, setting him loose upon the public. It says here that on November 17th, 2011, at approximately 9 p.m., he physically and verbally threatened another resident in the computer room. He can be seen on security footage camera coming towards the other resident in a threatening manner, screaming at or lifting a chair in a manner that threatened the other resident. So this, they still did not look him up. When they say they picked up a chair to threaten the other resident, that is a weapon, and they still refused to look him up. In other words, he was giving this 10-day notice for cause termination without the option to remedy on May 15th of 2012. His arrest did not occur until 7/26/12. Now, when I got the, took me 5 months to find his name because no resident that I knew had it, and the management certainly wouldn't give it to me because they said they were protecting his privacy. Now, in court, my restraining notice on him is 120464600. He wrote one on me, which failed in the court of law. He also wrote one on Earl Mac Williams, which is 1205-65013. Mine on him was 1204-64600. When I had the restraining notice, which was issued to me against him on June 6th, on June 7th, I got a doctor's note saying that my mental health has been compromised and to please move me or him to a different building. That was by Gaston Brooks. It says MC North Portland, PC 9000 North Lombard. So that was where he was. On June 27th, several weeks later, I got a letter from Lisa Yarborough, the housing specialist of the Housing Authority of Portland, and she said, I have received a request for reasonable accommodation to transfer to a different apartment. Based on the information provided, I am denying your request for reasonable accommodation. The information does not show a connection between your disability and the accommodation requested. Home Forward cannot ensure that moving you to a different property would mitigate issues you may have with neighbors. So that is discrimination against me from her. This is a picture of what she looks like. I hope you got that. Now, once I had this restraining notice on him, he started sending me information through the mail, which the police said each time I called them, about 6 different times, and they came to the building, they said, oh, he could send you things through the mail because he's appealing the restraining notice you had on him. Well, the only thing is that his return address had to be his jail cell, which he was not in. It was also on a page-long list of drugs, including Oxycontin, which probably severely, well, I'm not a doctor, but I would guess being on that many drugs does affect you psychologically, as well as being a wanted fugitive.
6 minutes.
Would. Now, I was thinking that that if he was evicted before his arrest, that he would retaliate, quite possibly, by killing people. The police would do nothing. The housing authority would do nothing. So I, a disabled person with anxiety and depression, had to go to see the judge again, had to go to the DA's office, and said, why don't you check this person's background before he starts to kill people? That's when he was arrested on fugitive charges. The court wrote on his case number, eviction case number, which is 120018279E. The court has now been informed that the defendant was incarcerated and has been transported to the courthouse without notice to the court, which means that just before his eviction, he was arrested. Now, it says here that in his evidence for his case number, for evidence for his case eviction, HUD regulations materially affect, let me read this whole thing. Landlords' obligations are to comply with requirements for applicable building codes, housing codes, and HUD regulations materially affecting the health and safety. Well, that wasn't done because he threatened me on November 17th and he wasn't arrested until July. So that's some 8 months later. It also says to keep building facilities and common areas not otherwise assigned to resident for maintenance and upkeep in the clean and safe condition. Well, it's not a safe condition when they have a wanted fugitive parole violator living there. Then, after his arrest, I wanted to move. They kept me in that system. They said, you cannot move anywhere except here. That was, I think, because they then accused me of a felony assault in retaliation for me pointing out that they had a wanted fugitive criminal parole violator with a history of kidnapping and illegal weapons possession living in their building.
9 minutes.
Now, on October 2nd, 2012, at approximately 2 p.m., it says, while you were talking with another resident, you became hostile and disruptive. While the resident was trying to assure you, responded by hitting the other resident in the chest with your fingers and continued to yell at the resident. That was never brought to court. I was never arrested. That is a purely fabricated, made-up story designed as an act of terrorism to drive me to become homeless. They then hooked this criminal's record up to my name, not thinking that, not trying to make me appear to be him, but letting people know that there was a wanted fugitive looking for me, because after his arrest, they let him go. They let him go on his own recognizance to return to Ohio to answer questions about kidnapping, and he decided to become a wanted fugitive again. So when his information is hooked up
10 minutes.
to my name, it makes me the landlord googling my name, not wanting to house me. So then I received a letter from Portland saying that throughout 2013 to the present, you've made many telephone calls to the office of elected officials in the city of Portland regarding your relationship, interaction, and complaints against Home Forward, formerly the Housing Authority of Portland. Home Forward is a separate government entity from the city of Portland. Home Forward is the entity that needs to address your questions and concerns with your allegations of its actions against you. This city cannot provide resolution to your complaints or concerns against Home Forward. Letting me know that if I call them again, they would arrest me. However, when David G. Gwyther, Gwither, complained about bed bugs, the Housing Authority of the Portland City Council said the county has taken the lead on all inspections. But Home Forward is not strictly a city agency, it's an independent agency. But we have an influence of them, so we'll talk to them. So they'll talk about bed bugs, but not wanted fugitives. The things I'd like to know is if Portland's CEO Clayton Collins, who was reported distorted academic criminal histories as a nonprofit, amassed public contracts worth $1.2 million, he was given $75,000 to help felons find housing. And that was done in 2007. It says $75,000 to help felons find housing, jobs, and support groups after prison. Stanley came on the waiting list for the Housing Authority of Portland in 2006. Stephen Stanley's now been captured and is doing time, I think, until 2018 in Ohio. And the last thing that I think I should say is that there should be free legal assistance pertaining to compensation. I'm not planning on suing, but this should be done when a wanted criminal is found in living in the Housing Authority of Portland. It should be made a criminal matter because there was no lawyers who would take the case. And because they said because it's a civil matter, and the city won't prosecute. Allowing victims to get housing wherever they want in the U.S. Mine was denied when I requested a different city. A background check should be done whenever a restraining notice is extended in a court of law on a tenant. And then allowance for legal name change to protect the victim. And also I would say that a separate delivery of butter for each side order of toast that is delivered would also be appropriate. Well, thank you for listening. I hope these laws are changed to protect the lives of the citizens from the Housing Authority. Thank you.